not sure what you're going to say on this one, but should any superstar want to play for James Dolan and the Knicks? You know, I know you're a lifelong New Yorker.
Well, certainly, if this was the late 1960s or early 1970s, Kevin Durant would be out of his mind. They were the coolest then. Walt, Clyde, Frazier, Willis, Reed, Dave DeBusch, everybody. Bill Bradley, come on, Stephen A., eventually Earl the Pearl. Back then, they were cool. And then they were not cool for a while. Bernard King tried his best. He didn't have much to work with. And then Patrick Ewing was drafted, Charles Oakley, and as you would say, Stephen A., the crew. And they were cool again. And that was how long ago? Even when when Kevin Durant says, well, they were in the finals once. That was Sprewell and Houston and Camby, and that was no longer even the same identity of really, because Patrick Ewing got hurt for the finals, as the Patrick Ewing Knicks. The Knicks are a laughing stock. They're a laughing stock with fans, except for some delusional Knicks fans in New York. They're a laughing stock around the league. They have zero coolness factor. I mean, that's when you're talking about brand. You know who's cool? The Brooklyn Nets are cool. That's why KD and Kyrie are in Brooklyn. That's why Brooklyn is going to have a pretty good season this year and wait till KD gets back the following season. They were good last year. The Brooklyn Nets are ascendant in New York City. It is because of Jim Dolan, Stephen A., and as long as he is the owner, the Knicks will not be a thing.
Well, you know, it's a debate show, so we've basically robbed the audience because I have nothing to add. I mean, the Knicks
are. You
are
look so depressed, Stephen A.
It's very depressing. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking you in any way, Max. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying that I genuinely have nothing to add. I spoke to Kevin Durant. Obviously, he interviewed me on his boardroom. That's supposed to be coming out soon, and you know, we spoke about it, and you know, I knew that he was considering the Knicks. I also know for a fact that Dolan had everything to do with him electing to go to Brooklyn instead of the Knicks. Because when you look at the New York Knicks, people don't complain about Steve Mills. People don't complain about Scott Perry. People don't complain about Madison Square Garden, despite the fact that it's above Penn Station, and we know what kind of environment that could be from time to time. Rat's best friend sometimes, for crying out loud. We get all of that. But in the end, it's Madison Square Garden, it's the Mecca, and everybody would love to descend upon Madison Square Garden if you actually had something to root for. And the perpetual, continual, relentless complaint is aimed solely in the direction of James Dolan, who's presided over this franchise pretty much on his own since 1999. Since that time, they've had just 5 playoff appearances. They've won just 1 playoff series. They've had the worst record in the sport. They have been a an international embarrassment to the sport of basketball. Steve Mills and Scott Perry have been assigned to try to clean up that mess. It has not worked thus far. And the reason why is because it's New York City. Just imagine this, Molly and Max. If the Los Angeles Lakers, they could be a relatively respectable team. But if they didn't have a star, would you really care? Would you really care about them the way that you do? Of course you wouldn't. The purple and gold, synonymous with stars. From the days of Mikan to Chamberlain and West and Baylor and Kareem and Magic and Worthy and Byron Scott and these boys to Shaq and Kobe to now LeBron. The reason why the Lakers are such a storied franchise, I understand the championships have everything to do with it, but there's always been stars that carried the mantle. They weren't just stars for the team. They were global, iconic stars. They transcended the sport of basketball. And the fact of the matter is the closest thing that the New York Knicks have had to a star in 50 years is Carmelo Anthony and Patrick Ewing. One never played in an NBA Finals. The other never won an NBA championship. Those are the 2 biggest stars you have had since 1973.
Right.
I have nothing to add other than that, other than to say that I believe that the producers and Molly and all of y'all brought this up to torture me and to remind me of the level of depression that I cannot escape from because I was fine until we brought up
Dennis
the
Smith
Knicks.
Jr.
And this
You
is
got
what happened.
Dennis Smith Jr.,
Barrett's good.
R.J.
No.
Barrett,
Look,
Kevin Knox.
here's
I
the
can go
issue.
on and on.
No,
You got a squad?
No, you don't. Here's the issue. And then they sign veterans who's going to take minutes away from the young. It's a mess. Here's the issue with the Knicks, Stephen A. When you say stars, in fact, it's not like in other sports where you're like, oh, we need to put butts in the seats, so we need star power. In the NBA, the biggest stars are the best players, and they have the largest influence on whether or not you win a championship. You can't do it without stars in the NBA. And name a single superstar who's ever signed with the Knicks as a free agent. Name the guy who's like, yep, I want to go there. First of all, I don't care what a metropolis you are. If you're a cold weather city, you're behind the 8 ball.
Why are you doing this, man? Why
That's the truth. And then, by the way, here's how bad it is. Even sometimes the basketball gods say, okay, this is such a mess. We'll just drop Jeremy Lin into your lap. No, see you later. We'll give you Kristaps Porzingis. See you later. You don't even get anything for them, really. They just leave. So the times where you have maybe this guy can do something, no, not even then.
Thank you so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.